And to the incredible group of Liberal MPs that we have, you are the voices for your communities, and you are the conscience of our party.
Says the new leader of the Liberal Party, says the new Prime Minister, who represents nobody. Okay, folks, so let's start off with the obvious. In case you didn't know, and in case this is a surprise, I'm sorry to blow the surprise. In case you were hoping for Frank Baylis to become the next Prime Minister of Canada.
I thought he debated the best.
He did not become the Prime Minister of Canada.
But he did debate the best, in my opinion, at least.
He did. Mark Carney is the new Prime Minister of Canada, the Prime Minister with no seat, with no experience in politics, but hey, he's the new Prime Minister of Canada. And as they were announcing the results, it was interesting watching the reactions, especially from Karina Gould and Chrystia Freeland. So let's take a quick look at them announcing the results, and then we'll go back and do a bit of analysis.
My friends, together, we are ready for the year ahead, but we need each and every one of you. 2025, as we all know, is an election year, and we all need to be ready. We need to knock on doors, make those calls, and chip in where we can, because only together will we win the fight for a strong Canada. Who's with me? Now, who's ready? Now it's the moment to announce our new leader. Maintenant, c'est le moment d'annoncer notre nouveau chef ou notre nouvelle.
It's now time to announce our new leader.
Results. I'm happy to invite on stage Beatrice Keller-Rafoul, who has been serving as the Chief Electoral Officer for the vote and protecting the integrity of the process. Pour me remettre les résultats, j'ai le plaisir d'inviter.
Now have the pleasure to invite Beatrice Keller-Rafoul, who has been acting as Chief Electoral Officer for the vote and has worked to protect the integrity of the process. Beatrice, over to you.
Okay, so you'll have to forgive me. I always forget this gentleman's name. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll see if I can grab it for you.
Is that the president?
Yeah.
That I don't know.
So this gentleman's name is Sachin Mehra. He is the president of the Liberal Party of Canada. And this is one of the reasons why we've been saying, much to many other people's chagrin, that Prime Minister Trudeau had resigned. And we had a bunch of people saying, he said he intends to resign. It's not the same thing yet. Okay, so
he gave his notice, what it was.
Yeah, what happened is on January 5th, the day before, he announced his resignation. On January 5th, he advised the president of the Liberal Party of Canada that he was resigning. He had tendered his resignation, just like you do in corporate Canada. You submit your resignation, and then when they accept it, you're done. So you can't take that back. So he said he intends to resign when the new leader is elected. Well, guess what? New leader's elected. And at this point, Justin Trudeau is now in transition mode. He is not he's not really the Prime Minister anymore. He technically is until the transition happens officially, but everything that we're hearing is that's going to happen very, very fast. And as we discussed in our last video, one of the reasons that that's going to happen very fast is he's already getting briefings from the cabinet. So yeah. Anyhow.
Well, and we know of conservative parties that are getting their signs ready. We know of some EDAs that are renting out office space for their campaign offices. I mean, you wouldn't rent out an office space if you didn't think the election was imminent, because then you're stuck paying the rent for like what, another 6 months. So it's coming.
And he had said on, I believe, Friday or Saturday, at one of his events, he said, "This is going to be my last public appearance as Prime Minister." And then he said, "Oh well, I guess Sunday will," when he's speaking at the Liberal Party. So he's done. So I hope everyone that wasn't convinced of this is now accepting the evidence that is in front of you. So he is he's almost done. He's almost on his way out, and Carney was even taking a few shots at Trudeau, which was interesting, and it was probably unintentional because he doesn't know how to public speak very well. And the camera, as you'll see, was directly on Prime Minister Trudeau when that was happening. But anyhow, let's continue.
A reminder that the winner must receive more than 50% of the points allocated in a ballot to win. The following are the results of the first ballot with 151,899 votes cast. In fourth place, Frank Baylis with 4,038 votes, resulting in 1,014 allocated points, representing 3% of the vote. In third place, Karina Gould with 4,785 votes, resulting in 1,100 allocated points, representing 3.2% of the vote. In second place, Chrystia Freeland with 11,134 votes, resulting in 2,729 allocated points, representing 8% of the vote. In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, with 131,674 votes, resulting in 29,457 allocated points, representing 85.9% of the vote.
Here's one thing that just I don't get about this. I don't understand how he's that popular with the Liberals.
I don't get it either. I mean, the Liberals are the DEI party, the party that are saying they're tired of old white men being their politicians, and that's exactly who they chose.
Well, and here's the other thing. Back in 2013, Trudeau mania, everybody. And Trudeau was running against a bunch of nobodies. Like, nobody really knew who they were. And Trudeau won in the first ballot at 78%. How does Mark Carney, who has ran for a month, that barely anybody knows who he is? I don't get it. Anyway. This isn't a surprise. Everybody knew this was going to happen. So
it's the margins, I think, that shock me. I mean, even when Pierre won his leadership race, it was what, around 75%?
Yeah, he was in the 70s.
Like, so this is just, I don't know.
It's very strange. Anyway, folks. Okay, so I'm not sure if you noticed. You probably did, because you were all very observant people by now on these videos. So one of the things that I found funny because Karina Gould is trying to be Prime Minister, and she's not even going to win her own riding. So this was Karina Gould. This was her face when they were about to announce her results. So she's like, "Yay me! Okay, fine. I'm in third place, but maybe I got like maybe 20% of the vote or something like that. Let's see how well I did." And then they're like, "Oh, you only got 4,000 votes. Oh.
But you know what? We suspected she was a stalking horse anyways, so I'm kind of surprised she got that many, you know what I mean?
Well, but like, come on. But like her face was one of disbelief. Like she was thinking, really? I only got 4,000 votes? How is that possible? Now, let's move on to Chrystia Freeland. So Chrystia Freeland with her lovely husband, I think. Must be her husband. So second place. She's like, okay, well, that's great. All right. And we're going to announce how many votes you got. Like,
I think she thought she was going to win. And I mean, I think maybe she thought she was going to get more than 11,000 votes. But either she didn't put out a good campaign or the media wasn't covering it, because all we heard of was Carney.
She looked shocked. Like the way she, you know, she's trying to put on a brave face. So is Karina, because they know that cameras are always on them.
Right.
And they know that cameras are definitely going to be on them when results are being announced. So, but they couldn't hide that face, right? They couldn't hide that face of, well, this is what they were thinking.
What the hell is going on?
And then followed by
emotional damage.
That's the answer to the question, isn't it?
Right.
What the hell's going on? Emotional damage.
That's what's
the
going
answer.
on.
Yeah.
Is emotional damage. So that's seriously what they were going through, and I don't blame them. Like, how do you only get that many votes?
Yeah, the results of this, I mean, we knew that Carney would win, but the margin is what's shocking me.
Well, just look at Karina Gould, right? So although she was going to lose her riding, you can't get 4,000 votes from your your own riding, never mind across the country, which she said, oh, I'm getting letters from everyone across the country. So where's all those votes? Questions need to be asked. Answers need to be given. Anyway, that was the humorous part for me, is those reactions to the results. Now, Mercedes referred to this earlier, and so it's going to get a little stinky, but we need to unpack Mr. Carney's speech a little bit. So we'll get through a bunch of it. I don't know if we'll get through it all, because it's about 27 minutes or so.
Oh goodness, no,
So-
we're not listening to it all.
So we're not going to get through it all, but we'll get through a bunch of it, and then we will pause at the relevant parts. So here's Mark Carney as he's coming up to begin his speech after his daughter introduced him.
Prime Minister, I think it's clear we should just skip a generation. Alors, bonsoir tout le monde. Wow. This room is strong. This room is Canada strong. Thank you, Cleo. Thank you, Cleo. And to my wife, Diana, our children, Cleo, Tess, Amelia, and Sasha. Without your support, I wouldn't be standing here. And like the Prime Minister, without your examples, I wouldn't have a purpose. And without your love, I wouldn't have the strength that I need for what lies ahead. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chrétien, you still know how to energize the Liberal Party supporters like no one else can do it. You took courageous and historic decisions. You showed our allies that Canada will always stand up for what is just and fair. You're a source of inspiration for all Canadians across the land.
Say that you inspired my family to become Liberals, including my father to run as a Liberal candidate in Alberta in the 1980s.
Okay, so that's the first bit. Does anybody else find it strange that the translator has more personality than the guy actually talking? Like,
No, I mean, as we've seen in Parliament, some interpreters are absolutely excellent. And also, as we've seen in Parliament, some politicians, because that's what Carney is now, are not so excellent.
well, but this is the thing. Like, if you listen to, like, pay attention to Mark Carney's tone, pay attention to his eyes, pay attention to his face and his body language. The most personality he showed was right at the beginning when he was like, this room is strong. This room is Canada. You know what that reminds me of? Star Trek fans? Everyone's going to bust a gut laughing on this. If you watch Star Trek The Next Generation, there is this episode where where Starfleet and the Enterprise meet these guys called the Packlids. And they have very, very low communication abilities. And one of the things they keep saying is, we are strong. We look for things. We are strong. That's what that reminds me of. So I think I'm going to be looking at Mark Carney as a Packlid from now on. But as he's speaking, he is talking to people like he's talking to shareholders. I've said that this whole time. And the more you listen to it, the more he sounds like a business guy. He sounds like a business executive. He doesn't inspire me. He makes me afraid that he wants to take my money. That's what he does.
Some elections are tougher than others. And you inspired me. You inspired me over the years. And now to have an opportunity to continue your tradition of fiscal responsibility, social justice, and international leadership. Prime Minister Trudeau, my time doesn't permit me to recognize all your accomplishments, so I'll speak at a higher level. You have combined strength and compassion every day as a fighter for Canada. You have led us through some of the hardest challenges that this nation has ever faced.
At the same time, you have transformed Canada. You've transformed it. You've lifted hundreds of thousands of kids out of poverty by moving reconciliation forward and by defending freedom and democracy here and across the world. Prime Minister, I think I am speaking for everyone here when I thank you for your hard work. As Ella Grace said, your hard work, for your leadership, and for your service to our great country. And I'd also like to thank you, Liberals, for having awarded me the greatest honor possible, which is to serve as your new leader. Thank you. I'd like to thank the tens of thousands of volunteers across the country who have devoted themselves to rebuilding our country and to giving back hope to our country.
I pledge to you and to all Canadians that I will follow their example. I will work day and night with one purpose, which is to build a stronger Canada for everyone.
He sounds like he's giving a eulogy.
Well, here's the red flag. I'm going to follow their example. Okay, so you've been saying that, well, we need to get the Liberal Party back closer to the center, but I'm going to follow the example of Justin Trudeau, which took it all the way to the far left. Okay, I believe you. Legit, I believe you, Mark Carney. I believe you are going to follow Justin Trudeau's example. And this is what the Conservatives have been saying for the past year, that you're just like Justin and you're probably going to follow all of his policies, but just make it worse. I believe you.
But I will need help. I will need a lot of help. And so I'd like to thank Chrystia, Frank, and Karina for your energy and ideas and leadership that you have brought to this campaign. And I would like also to thank those ministers who remained in their posts to serve Canada directly during this time of great peril.
So if you caught Karina Gould there, that is the face of I'm screwed. Being the leader of the Liberal Party would have allowed me to run in any riding that I wish.
No, I mean, they're still expected to move, aren't they? Like, regardless of...
No, but my point is now she's stuck in the riding of Burlington,
Yeah, and
which
she's
she
gonna
will
get
not win.
annihilated by Emily Brown.
Right, she will not win. So, sucks to be Karina Gould. So that is the realization of I'm screwed.
I'm just trying to check to see if 338 Canada has an update on the riding of Burlington.
Even with these ridiculous polls. Oh,
they're saying it's a toss-up, but...
Give me a break.
Yeah, we know how the polls have been lately. So because 338's an aggregate, we haven't really been looking at them very closely lately. But
yeah, sorry, I don't trust that. So
we'll see.
And to the incredible group of Liberal MPs that we have, you are the voices for your communities, and you are the conscience of our party. Thank you for your service. Now,
how ironic. To the members of Parliament, you're the voices of your communities. Yeah, says the new leader of the Liberal Party, says the new Prime Minister, who represents nobody. Like, nobody. You can't make this stuff up, folks.
to give a sense of that service, I'm going to quote from a message that I and Chrystia and Karina and Frank, the four of us, received from someone called Bob Zettel. Now, Bob, full disclosure, I know the leader of the opposition's into full disclosure, so I'm going to full disclosure. Full disclosure. Just want to get this on the table.
Even when he's trying to be funny, it's stale.
Yeah. I know the leader of the opposition is into full disclosure. Yeah, Canada is actually into full disclosure, Mark. You are a unelected prime minister now.
And who knows what your holdings are? You've got 60 days, not 90, 60 days to report all of your holdings, your debts, your assets, everything to the ethics commissioner. And then they're going to tell you exactly what to divest. Now, I think I had seen it on Larry Brock's Facebook page. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on whose Facebook page it was, but I think it was Larry's, that the Conservatives are intending on putting forward some sort of ethics bill that would make people have to sell off their assets, not just divest them, not just put them into a trust, like completely get rid of them.
And you know what? That makes a lot more sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you want to go into public office, you need to take that choice, right? You need to make a choice. Do I want to go into public office to serve because I want to serve very badly? I want to help my community. So I'm willing to sell off my assets, even if they're making me lots of money. Because right now it's, well, I can go into public office, but I can put them in a blind trust and they can continue to earn money. And then when I'm done, I'll have them.
Well, you should be untethered is the whole point of this, right? And that's what seems to be at the core of what the Conservatives are proposing, is that when you enter public office, you do so untethered, meaning you're not like Stephen Gilboa, who has a whole bunch of investments in Cycle Capital, but then that comes under one of the other ministers who keeps funneling money into that, and that company keeps getting money, and then you get rich. Sorry, that doesn't wash. It doesn't wash at all. So you should be entering in to public service untethered. You have no business interests, literally none. No trusts, no blind trusts, no nothing. That makes sense to me, because that guarantees that you have nothing to gain financially from being in government. And it dramatically reduces the possibility of corruption. And you need to also be disclosing at that point what your family has interests in as well. So,
yeah, they have this big, long report that they have to do for themselves when they are either elected as an MP or they're appointed to cabinet. And I think they have to repeat it every single year, but they also have to do it for their spouse as well as their children.
Bob goes to my church. Actually, I go to Bob's church because he goes there a lot more frequently than I do. Anyways, point is, Bob wrote to the 4 candidates, and he said, I quote, "Right now, everyone sees the main threat as the Trump tariffs. But the far greater challenge will be, as it always has been, to foster unity and a sense of the common good. There are those who will seek power by dividing us." We'll get to that later on. "And we being the people of Canada, we need you, my fellow candidates, myself, to continue in positions of leadership to promote a united Canada, a commitment to common good and the respect and the rule of law throughout the world."
So the Liberal Party, who has completely destroyed national unity, made it politically incorrect to show national pride, encouraged and fostered the rip down of our national monuments of John A. Macdonald.
They wanted to cancel Canada Day a few years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was so upset because Canada Day is my favorite holiday. Not only does it give us just the opportunity to be thankful for what we have, it's also in the summer, which is awesome. And nobody expects anything of me. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I can just hang out. Right. And they wanted to cancel it. And I just remember being so angry.
And they literally pitted family against family, brother against sister, mom against dad, friend against friend. It was disgusting what the Liberal Party had done. And Mark Carney gets up there and says, we need to be looking at national unity. And the Liberals all start clapping. Are you kidding me?
The Liberal Party has divided Canadians possibly more than any other party in our country's history, possibly even more than any other topic or any other entity in our country's history. And
then Mark Carney makes kind of like a backhanded inference that Pierre Poilievre is seeking power through dividing Canadians. Are you kidding?
Have you been to his rallies?
Like, Pierre does not talk about dividing region versus region. He doesn't talk about dividing people by race, people by color, people by gender. Like, he doesn't talk about that. There's only one party that does that. There's only one party that engages in full-on identity politics. There's only one party that, when asked, why did you divide your cabinet based on gender and not merit? And the answer was because it's 2015.
Yeah. And, well, I'd say it's not only the Liberals, but also the NDP.
Oh, the NDP are just as bad.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, the Liberals are the ones with the most seats right now, and they're the ones that have divided this country the past 10 years. I mean, think of it. How many of you have somebody in your family that there's a particular topic that you cannot even bring up because of the division that it will cause, because of the fights that it will cause? Like, growing up, for me, that wasn't a thing, right? Like, you could sit down, have an adult conversation with somebody, but now it's completely polarized. People are separated. People are, I don't know, it's like that whole tribalism thing.
Well, and this is where in the House of Commons, the Liberals repeatedly accused the Conservatives of bringing American-style politics up here, but they are literally the ones that brought up Bernie Sanders. They're literally the ones that brought up Hillary Clinton. Like, last I checked, the Conservatives didn't bring up any American politicians to their rallies. Last I checked, the Conservatives weren't referring to the other parties as Hitler or an existential threat. They weren't doing that.
No, what did it was Trudeau that said in the House of Commons to Melissa Lantsman, who is Jewish, something about the Conservatives were standing with people who wave swastikas.
Right.
Like, what is that even?
You have Ken Hardy that is constantly referring to the Conservatives as some form of Nazi from World War II.
Well, not just that, but he says, like, we're idiots, we're this, we're that. Like, that, maybe idiots isn't a direct quote, but he's always making it seem like anybody who votes Conservative is some sort of leper.
Well, Chrystia Freeland even was referring to anyone that voted for Conservative as cold. That was after the Toronto St. Paul by-election.
Right.
Like,
Which party is dividing Canadians?